Good evening and welcome to the TLC Unleashed Show, Hollywood Vibes, Sports and Life. We are at it again. What a day. Spectacular. We've got Abe Cruz in the house tonight.
What's
How
up?
are
What's
you?
up? Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. This is a story you guys do not want to miss all over the world. This is an incredible story, an incredible man. I mean, we were just saying, I'm like, is there anything you can't do? We had some fun today. We did a little photo shoot on the beach down in Venice.
Got crazy, had some fun.
Yeah,
Cold water, but, it was cool.
So I've got some beach hair going on, but that's okay. We're still about to have some fun. Shout out to my sponsor at SWAT Fuel. We are fueled and powered by SWAT Fuel. I'm going to be making sure that you get to take some home to try it out.
Right.
So best product ever. Lee knows about that. He loves it. Abe, let's talk. Okay, so you're originally from LA.
Yes, born and raised in East LA. East
Sorry,
Los.
Being a Canadian, I forget that I'm supposed to say that.
East LA, yeah.
So that makes a big difference.
Well, it's just you got a little bit of pride or whatnot. Everybody was born wherever they're from,
Yeah.
but I lived in Pasadena and born and raised out here. Been out here all my life. Managed to get out of the the lower levels of poverty and the journey, and
You were a superstar basketball player growing up?
I was gifted. I started at an early age playing sports, and I was grabbing the rim at 11 years old.
Yeah.
I made my first dunk when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably the same height. I haven't
You
grown.
haven't grown at all since 12?
No, honestly, I was like 5'5", 5'6".
Yeah.
And so what is that, like maybe 3 inches?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly,
That's okay.
all throughout my career. But I was, I guess, a really good athlete, recruited here and there. I won a CIF championship as a freshman, so I got my ring, starting point guard, guarded Baron Davis in the state finals. He went on to play for everybody, so, shout out to Baron Davis.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is that what you grew up, you always wanted to be a basketball player? Is that
Yes,
what your dream was?
my focus was one of the sports. It was either basketball or football. My mindset was that, going on and making it to the pros. That's what you think at that age.
Yeah, well, if it's your passion too. I
Right.
played soccer back home in Canada and loved it. I mean,
Right.
I was going to be a professional soccer player till I couldn't play anymore.
Right.
It's kind of what happened, but
Right.
and then unfortunately I found boys and and stopped playing soccer.
I hear you.
Well,
Well, not boys, but
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
So what happened after that?
Well, I ended up just, and I try to be as real as I can with people, because the whole point of me, talking about my journey is for people to understand that we all have our beginning, that we go through our journey. And I was an All-American football player as well.
Yep.
I had 13 interceptions in 10 games my junior season. I pretty much thought like I ruled the school, that I was in charge of everything. At the end of it, I was like knocked down off that pedestal, and I didn't make grades for basketball season.
Yeah.
And that was just like a big blow to me. So, there's so many ups and downs in life, and I bounced back from that.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of scholarship offers, but then I bounced back, and fortunately, because of football, I was still able to go out to the University of Wisconsin Stout, started as a true freshman, started at corner, won a conference championship, got another ring. So just kind of fortunate. And then, I got off into college, and I actually started making money in network marketing. And then that's kind of when stuff went haywire, and I forgot about school. I was making money. I didn't want to be there.
So what happened? The money came in, and because that changes things. It's a game changer when the money starts flowing. The humility and being humble.
Absolutely.
It just changes things.
And like I said, remember, I grew up in North Pasadena. Not the Rose Bowl, not Colorado Boulevard in Old Town Pasadena. A lot of people don't know about Pasadena. It's not all the Rose Bowl and glitz and glamour. There's other parts of it. So after all of that was done, I had a little bit of money in my pocket, my first cell phone, you know, like first car, like a lot of these things started happening. And you just kind of lose a sense of reality and your humility and you're cocky and just stupid, right? So I dropped out of school, continued to pursue that, and just got the itch for money. And that's all I was after, And long story short is, you know, that business kind of crumbled. I went back to LA and had the hunger. It was like, okay, well, what's next? How do I continue this, right? Got into a little bit of acting, did some TV, some modeling stuff. But then that's kind of when my trouble really started happening. I had a girl who broke my heart. I got into a car accident. Life was just like difficult at 21 years old or 22 years old. So someone approached me as I was a personal trainer. I was doing club promotions and I just started real estate. And someone asked me to do something that was illegal. I drove a vehicle cross country with drugs, money. And I did that a few times. I got away with it.
Okay, so you did do it a couple times and got away with it before you actually got caught.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
so now we're gonna talk about
exhilarating. So that's pretty exhilarating. You get away with it. So you're making some big money. Now you're back up and you're you're back up in the same game again. So now it's another
even bigger, a little bit more older, just stupidity. Now I'm hanging out at the Playboy Mansion, just going crazy, just stupid. And all of that came to a quick end. I mean, it lasted and then it came to a quick end, and it doesn't make a difference however long it lasted, because when that time came to an end, I was gone. And pretty much a first-time offender, they sent me away.
Yeah, you were imprisoned.
They sent me to prison. They wanted to make an example of me. Didn't give me a judicial review. Paid lots of money for an attorney. Kind of had to buy my way out of a 30-year sentence.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there was a point, too, that I read that you thought you were going to only be in there a year.
Well, yeah, because I was a first-time offender, clean record. So I'm supposed to be given what's called a judicial review, where they review you after 12 months, stay clean, stay out of trouble, no problems, and you'll get the review in front of the judge. And most of the first-time offenders get that, and then if they're clean, they get out.
Yeah.
So that's what I was told, and that's the story that I was given. Hey, pay us X amount of money, you'll be fine. Doesn't work like that.
Did you ever in your mind think, okay, I'm doing this, it's not, there's consequences to everything, but were you just in the rush of it?
You don't think about that. When now all of a sudden you have money to buy a Rolex, or put money down on a new Mercedes, or you're looking for property, you don't think about that. All I knew, and I laugh about it now because I can laugh about it.
How many years ago was that?
Well, I got 2007 is when I got busted. So, a few years before that kind of started. And then I got out in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. And so went in, did the whole thing, and pretty much, I just turned the whole negative into a positive.
Well, let's go back a little bit. When you did your thing, I mean, you went to prison for 3 years.
Yeah. I went in, and after the review was gone, my mom pretty much told me, she had a breakdown. We both broke down and cried on the phone. And she told me, you better get on your hands and knees and pray and ask God for a second chance at life. And it wasn't like just pray to him. She's like, you have to show him that you're serious and that you really mean it. You need to sacrifice for him. So I fasted. I fasted for 40 nights. I had like little bits of water, 1 meal a day, and I fasted. I prayed every day. I went from 185 pounds down to 150.
Wow, in 40 days.
Yeah.
Dave, did you have God in your life, and did you have him in your life before this?
I've always been a believer. I've always been a spiritual person. My story is really complex. My father was a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
But he left when I was 4. Okay, so then my mom was raising 4 kids, and one of the chapters in my book, I didn't mention that, but in my book is called Not Good Enough to Stay. And my father, decided that he had other things to do. So, I didn't have my father. After that, I got recruited, and I went on to go play into a Catholic school. So then I got baptized into that. Then I went off to college, and I started dating a Christian girl. And then while I was locked up, my brother was going through his own journey in life. He got married and, you know, things were happening there for him. He decided he was going to join the Mormon community and go on a retreat.
Wow.
So I've kind of like experienced so much that I've been a believer. I don't get into the Bible. I go to church, but the truth is I've had only bad experiences, and it's not to judge any one household or church.
Absolutely, I get it.
Yeah, but I believe in being a good person, a good man, living a straight life and helping people. And this is post prison. You know, this is like the awakening. I had this. I had when I prayed, I literally went through a spiritual fasting. I went through the fasting and I was dreaming for 40 days.
Yeah.
Literally dreaming.
Yeah, the lucid dreams. So what made you decide to do it for 40 days? And was it because, you know, your mom kind of was like...
My mom
she
told
just
me.
picked a number. It was like, let's do randomly 40 days.
That's what my mom said. Yeah.
Wow.
I believe that's somewhere in the Bible.
Okay.
I believe it's somewhere in the Bible. My name is Abraham.
Yeah.
And in the Bible, Abraham is the father of faith.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time. I'm not educated into that. But I went on to do so many things, all based on faith. So.
And I love it. I love that your mom was there. So that would be the next question. You had the support of your mom. You know, obviously your dad wasn't in your life at the time. So, you know, thank goodness that you had your mom there to really just kind of say, hey, look, because as a mom, as a parent, it's hard to see your kids go through struggles like that and to be solid and be supportive, because it's like we're emotional creatures. Women are a lot different than men. So we're thinking, okay, my son's in here. I want to get him out. How do I emotionally help him? So for her to be strong and really...
She kept me going.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Everybody bailed when I was gone and handcuffed and no more money, and everyone was gone. My mom was the one who stuck there and just did whatever she could. She wrote me every week. Aww. Every week I had letters, and that's like goes so far in there. Because there's so many guys that don't have that.
Yeah.
Sad.
So what was it like to be in prison? I mean...
Well, you saw my mugshots?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say you're a pretty boy, but not in your mugshots, I'm not going to lie.
Well, you know, depression, chaos, just craziness, and sometimes you lose yourself or you find yourself. And I think it was both for me. I was a little psychotic. I don't know. I didn't look at myself in the mirror for like 6-7 months after I found out I wasn't getting out.
Yeah.
I just didn't look at myself. My beard grew, and you saw my acne, the stress. There's like my hair's falling out. It was tough, you know. But after, like, I go back to that journey when I awoke from that spiritual sleep and that dream. Everything I saw in my dreams, I started writing down.
Nice.
And it's everything from starting a business when I got out, Forever Faith, my clothing company, fitness on the cover of fitness magazines. All of that happened. Starting my own production company, Mindset Media, just like being an author, writing a book, all of these things I saw and I wrote down, and I still have a stack of paper like this that I'm putting in my book to show that, hey, the journey actually did start from prison. Yeah. So, you know, but I tell people now, it was the greatest experience of my life.
Yeah, well, you know, when you go through those rock bottom experiences and you can really see through it. Like when you get through it, not in the time, but now you're able to share your story and empower and inspire other people. I mean, it's magnificent. And to get through the depression and when you get down like that and to get back up. So what was it besides the fasting where you're like, hey, I'm depressed, my hair's falling out, I'm stressed out, this is all, but I'm going to keep fighting. What were you thinking? Because there's other people that are going through, you know, the same experience or different experiences, but somewhat like it. How did you keep fighting, Abe?
You know, well, it all started with the prayer, and then after the prayer, it was just truly believing it. Like you can't have faith. You can't have faith halfway.
Yes.
You can't have it like a little bit.
Yeah.
You're in or you're out. Okay. So when I said I was in, and I got my letter from my attorney that said I wouldn't be getting out. Yeah, that real faith kicked in, and you know, I even if I had to lie to myself at the very beginning to tell my mom things are fine, Mom, I'm here hanging out at Boy Scout camp, you know, and I would tell her in Spanish, todo va a estar bien, everything's cool. I started working, and I actually I was busy every day. Yeah, like I started creating. I wrote a movie script. I did a comic book. I designed the clothing line. I worked out every day. I created workout equipment with plunger sticks and broomsticks and water bags.
I love that story.
My little artist in prison that I paid with food, he was 300 pounds. So I threw him on my shoulders to do my legs. You know, like that, we just did whatever we had to do.
Unbelievable. Yeah, because you had said they took away
no
the
weights
because
riots.
they're using them as weapons and stuff.
Right.
So what do you think, besides money, obviously the obvious, what do you think was missing in your life in order for you to make the decision to do those things that you did?
Well, I mean, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all I can say is I grew up without it. I grew up, and then I get into deep in my book. I was teased growing up. I had acne growing up. My whole 7th grade year I missed. I didn't want to go to school.
Wow.
I would leave home, and then I would go walk around and go to a park and shoot hoops for the whole day, and then I'd go to the Boys and Girls Club.
Wow.
I literally missed about 90% of my 7th grade year because of acne and because of clothes and just being teased and I'm bullied. I wouldn't say, well, I mean, teasing, I guess, is bullying.
It is bullying. It is a form of bullying, and it does wear on you, and it does impact you. And we don't realize it until later on in life because, you know, I went through a lot of similar things, and it was like, you know, I look at it now. Do you find that you must find this? Because, I mean, obviously the way you look, you know, you're a very attractive man, and you look great, and you're fit and physically fit, and people look up to you and admire you. So people go, "Oh, you don't know what it's like. You have no idea what it's like," and you're like, "Yeah, I do."
No, yeah. I mean, everything just, and I always say this. Like, I remember growing up in Pasadena, picking roaches out of my cereal. Ugh. Like starting, like going back that far to the journey. I have no memories of my father. My only memories of him were him screaming and yelling, and then photos. I remember a couple photos of us at the zoo, and I only saw it because of the photo. So I don't have any memories, good memories of him. Yeah. So everything was like the bad to just move forward in life. You know, so that motivated me as I got older because it was my mom by herself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look back at things too. You know, making poor choices in my life, and but it impacts us now today. I mean, when I was involved with the gang members. I mean, I thought it was a norm staying up doing drugs and alcohol for 3-4 days at a time and hanging out with Hell's Angels and gang members and people getting shot in the throat beside you and dying in a nightclub. And that was normal for me because, you know, that's what I was doing and that's what everybody else around me was doing. So people are like, don't you think this is abnormal? And I'm like, no.
But you know, that's a great point. And throughout the journey, I've had to analyze everything in the past, right? But if that's what you grew up in, you know, if there's kids in the hood or the projects, and they're not going to a school, they don't have a role model or a businessman who's their father. I mean, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying in general, that could be your norm. You know what I mean? My norm was poverty. So that's all I saw. I didn't know what a doctor was or an attorney at those times. So, you know, you can't judge anyone. That's what I've seen. Like if that's what your circle was, that's where it was. Yeah. You know?
And you look back at it, really does stem back to childhood and your childhood experience and, you know, what we've kind of seen and we start to mirror and things like that. So I think a lot of the choices that we make, and especially we're younger too, is definitely directly impacted because of the experience when we're growing up. So shout out to your mom. I mean, sounds like
mami, ¿cómo estás?
Woman.
Ana.
I applaud you for, you know, raising such a wonderful man. And,
absolutely.
You know, you've been through a lot, but the thing that I really admire about you, Abe, is that you have such a great spirit about you, and you're so positive, and you are changing and touching so many lives. I mean, nobody would ever think in a million years, you know, from prison inmate to, you know, like to what you're doing now, Mindset of a Champion. You've got a book coming out, you're acting, you're doing all these amazing things. You've been on the cover of magazines. And so, you know, and I read in your bio too, some people are like, we wouldn't even hire you at McDonald's and stuff.
I couldn't get it. When I first got out, I had 2 weeks to get a job. I was released on the ankle monitor in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And no one would hire me. I went. It's funny because I laugh now, but I went for like higher paying jobs. I didn't want to just settle, and my probation officer was like, "You better go and work at Burger King or McDonald's or Starbucks. You have 48 hours to get a job, or I'm sending you back in."
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I cried. I called my brother. I called my mom. What do I do? And you know what my mom said? You better pray about it.
Yeah,
No, she said you better pray
Yeah.
about it. So. But that next day I got 2 jobs. I got a job at a gym, and then I got a job at a supplement store that was right next door. I got 2 jobs, and the next day, I mean, it just like my whole journey has been a blessing and a spiritual thing. When I was handcuffed and taken away, and my mom was in the back, and she broke down, the guard that took me away told me in Spanish. He goes, "Todo va a estar bien." That means in Spanish, like everything's gonna be fine. You're okay. Like I had so many times when I was sent in for booking, they didn't throw me into the cage with 50 other guys. The guy just put me over there. I had my like nice shirt on, my dress shirt, pants, slacks, because I had to turn myself in. I almost left the country, and I put that in the book. Like I almost, because they wanted to give me 30 years violent crime. That means I would have to serve 85% of my time.
Wow.
Of 30 years. So I'd be getting out in my 50s or whatever. So I was like already planning to head out to China, to Mexico. Like I was gone. But anyway, so many different things it's like I was protected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the power of prayer is so huge. Even if you don't believe in God or whatever, God of your understanding or spirituality, prayer is so huge.
If you don't believe in God and you don't believe in the prayer, then believe in the mindset, believe in the vision and that secret of the law of attraction. It's all real, guys. I'm telling you right now. If you think it's a bunch of stuff, you continue to think that, and us champions will keep moving forward.
I totally agree. It's funny, the power of your mind.
Oh, man.
It's like, even for example, too, it's like you'll be thinking about someone and then all of a sudden they'll call you or text you.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
like,
Absolutely. I mean,
and that's how quickly it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about hanging out with winners and being around champions, we've got Susan Singh in the house tonight.
Susan.
I'd like to welcome you to the show. This girl is powerful and amazing and wonderful, and she's also a fellow Canadian. So
That's right.
Calgary,
Absolutely.
Canada.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Traci. It's such an honor. I'm sitting here really enjoying the conversation, getting inspired, and
Thank you.
really an amazing story.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank you.
I can
Thank you.
commend you with that. It's,
Appreciate it.
yeah,
And
it's
Susan's such a wonderful woman. I mean, we just actually met last weekend, and
Nice.
we connected right away,
Right,
and I
right.
just the same type of energy like you and I, just connected, and I loved what you're doing and talking about empowering women, and
Sure,
and a
absolutely.
writer, producer, director, a martial artist. This girl's badass. I'm
Woo!
sorry if I was swearing, offending anyone, but watching her do martial arts and stuff with the top dogs in the industry, TJ Storm, Dawn the Dragon Wilson, Cynthia Rothrock, and Art Camacho. Are you kidding me?
I know.
And Steve Ross. So shout out to all those wonderful people, friends of mine. And she was in there doing all the seminars, and just I have you on film, and I was just like, yeah, you
all
go,
right.
girl.
We'll have to check some of that. I hear
Yeah.
I can get pretty scary.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And she also did an audition, which I
Yes,
was
I did.
Very impressed. So tell us about you, Susan. Who are you? And I know you came from Calgary, Canada.
Yes.
So shout out to all our Canadians.
Yeah, Canadians.
A.
A.
I have to say that because somebody follows up with an A behind it everywhere. So I'll just beat you to it now.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about you, how your journey started into the acting, writing,
Sure.
producing.
Well, thank you so much. And I go by Souza, so most
Okay.
people know me by Souza, S-U-Z-A. And basically, let's say I started off, was selected to play basketball for the, train with the national team. So
Oh, nice.
I'm an athlete. I love that.
Baller.
Absolutely. We'll go outside afterwards, right?
Yeah,
Didn't bring my
I don't know.
So basically, I just started out. I became a professional singer, and I traveled the world. Worked with Motown Jazz. Did a few gigs with those guys, and we always had to send a video off. So it was always like, oh, gotta send a video. So I started, finding out more about video, more about, how to, make something look half decent. But I'm an action. TJ Storm said to me, "Hey guys, you need to be watching like 3 action movies a week." I'm like, TJ, I watched like 3 action movies back to back, like 3 nights ago. So I love action movies, and I thought, oh, how would it, to be actually try to do an action movie. So I started with my debut movie. Then I did an action comedy, or the teaser to it's not completed, in development, and then now Replicant, which is the movie that we were talking about. And yeah, and Art Camacho gave us like major thumbs up for that one.
I saw the review. To get a review like that from Art Camacho is outstanding. I commend you. But you blew me away. I watched it the other night, and I've watched it 5 times since. 5 is my lucky number, and I keep watching it, and you know what fires me up? It gets me, I want to go do martial arts.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to play it, because, my phone's in use right now, but if you have it on your phone.
I don't even have it on my phone. My phone hasn't worked since I crossed the border.
Okay. I posted on my Facebook, guys, Replicant. It's on my Facebook. The teaser, the trailer, whatever you want to call it, is on there. It's dynamic. It's powerful. And it's friggin', it'll blow your mind. So I definitely want to be in one of your movies.
Absolutely, you're going to be.
We're working on this. And like, this guy has got to be in movies everywhere.
Absolutely.
He's a natural. But just to be in those action scenes and the fighting scenes and stunts, obviously it's my dream come true. Right. So I'm super excited to what's next. So tell us about what you're doing and how you're involving women into this as well.
Sure. Well, I was the treasurer of Women in Film up in Canada, and it was a great organization, but I really wanted something that was a little bit more diverse. I wanted something that I'm an action, like for some of the clips and the movies I was doing, he said, yeah, well, it's a women's organization. We're not really into that kind of stuff.
Right. It's too much.
So yeah, it's a bit too much. So, so I kind of found myself out in a corner, really, because it's not a big genre, I guess.
I can see you like kicking the door down and leaving the office.
Hey,
I will mess you up. She just took it off the frame.
You better let me in.
Like, you might want to change your mind.
But it was kind of more of a marginalized kind of, because it's not a huge, genre for females action or martial arts movies. So I love them, and I thought, do what you love.
Yeah.
So basically, we started on Replicant. So I just realized we did one scene. There was the main character, 16-year-old Valetika Romanov, 16-year-old daughter to Vladimir Romanov. So that's her character, and that's the storyline.
That sounds sexy.
I know, right? You sold me right there. I'm in.
So Valetika Romanov is one fight scene, and there's a female banker. Then there's 2 bodyguards. One's a female, one's a male. So basically, in this scene, it was like I think 5-to-1 women to men, which is really unusual. It wasn't planned out that way. But I'm like, I got a couple of male bankers and this one female banker. So I thought, well, when you think about banker, you naturally think a guy, right? So I'm like, well, why? Because even I think, 3 guys, right? And I'm like, no, let's change it up. So basically, even in that thought process of saying, okay, well, 3 bankers would naturally just choose out 3 guys. We said, well, let's change it up. Even that, because even I, as a woman, have to rethink. Okay, does it really have to be? Does it have to be male? Does it have to be female? So, and age as well. When you're over 22 in Hollywood, basically 22 and a half, for some people say you're on the way out. And for me, some people say that, not me. I'm from Calgary, but having more roles for ladies who are over 20, and for all, and even people with disabilities. So when we talk about our organization, which is Real Diverse, REEL, Real Diverse, we're talking about people with disabilities. We're talking about age differences. We're talking about people with, different, gender identities or whatever. So we're talking about a wide base, because guess what? When you go outside, is very diverse.
That's what you're
in
getting.
most cities I've traveled to over 40 countries in the world, and most of them are pretty diverse. But sometimes when you see it on television or movies, doesn't always reflect what you're actually seeing out. So what we're trying to do is opened those doors. And especially, I love working with women. I love working because I find that we're like, yeah, come on, we want to kick some butt. And, I get hired if I cry and I get rescued, but I actually really want to be the protagonist and actually go be like Wonder Woman.
Right? Isn't that funny? That's what you asked me today?
That's asking, yeah.
Yeah,
I asked her at the beach. I said, okay, so, we're talking about acting. Are you the girl that's like, the action guy is going to save the world and then he gets the girl? Or are you the girl that's going to save the world and then go grab your guy?
Go get the guy.
So.
I don't know. Go on. Which one are you?
I want to hear your opinion first.
She's the one who goes and saves the
world. Of course.
That's
like,
just
with
my humble opinion.
With the black leather boots.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. It's all about the leather. Actually, the leather outfits in one of my scenes.
Right.
Absolutely. That's what I would paint you.
And it's like, oh, yeah, I can kick ass in heels, by the way. Just wanted to let you guys know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, beating people up and then saving the world.
It looks so cool on
thing.
film when a girl kicks the guy and uses her high heel to throw his neck back and she's like trapped. That's pretty sexy.
Oh yeah, you're seeing it now, right?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's just you get to explore your personality and I'm really loving it. I never ever in my whole life ever thought I'd be an actress.
Really?
Ever. Oh, wow. I came from Canada. It was like and I did background work, I did doubling, body doubling, but it was just one of those things. I don't know. I'm actually a little bit shy. It's funny that people laugh when I say that, but I was very shy. I just kept to myself and I played sports and I was an athlete. And so when people look at it, they're like, wow, you've really come out of your shell. And people that know me now, they're like, come out of your shell?
Right.
She's always been like this.
Always out of your shell? But it wasn't that way. So how did you go from being a singer into all of this dynamic, diverse stuff?
But I think creatives are just creatives. I really honestly do. I think you can take a creative and kind of put them in any, like I oil paint as well. People always say, oh, you got to sell your work. And I'm like, oh, it's not that good. But, I think creatives are just creatives. I think you can take a creative, you can say, okay, I need you to do an oil painting right here, then come over here, direct a movie, write a book, and go perform.
You figure it out.
You just figure it out.
Yeah.
You just figure it out. So basically, like on the first movie, we needed an editor. We didn't have one. We needed motion graphics. We didn't have one. So I had
fixed that too?
I fixed it. I had to become editor. And
Wow.
I took on 7 roles to
make it happen.
To make it happen. And I think that is, what you were talking about. It's either belief and prayer or it's a mindset. But whichever one, it kind of works hand in hand.
Thing, yeah.
And that's why I believe like spiritually, if you look at the Bible, you look at like I said, I was at a convention with astrophysicists. He asked me if I was an astrophysicist. I said, darling, I can't even spell the word. Never mind.
I can't even pronounce
it. No,
it.
I'm not really an astrophysicist, but it was obviously very flattering. But I would, I was making a comparison. It is, darling. There you go.
Right? Yeah, gets them every time. Just anything.
Even though
You're
I'm Canadian,
I can do
I'm
it all
British
with
too.
this accent.
But I was saying that, I said basically the Bible and quantum mechanics are saying identical things. And I said, basically the mind, by observing the particle wave, will actually influence whether it's a particle or it's a wave. So then the observation, the mind is now changing reality. Absolutely. Well, what is the Bible saying? What is the Quran saying? Or what is every spiritual, Buddhist, what are they saying? They're saying exactly the same thing.
Right.
So I really like that point that you made about that. It was pretty cool.
Beautiful.
Amen.
All right. Amen.
I love it. And it's amazing how people shut down when you start talking about things like this, but really dive into yourself and just kind of take the time to really think about these things because it does make sense. It all starts in the mind. Your mind controls your body. And I can't tell people that enough because it's anything you do, sports, acting, any field of life that you're doing, it's always the mind that's going to control it. So, I mean, you're inspiring people all over the world, both of you. What kind of movies are you going to be doing next?
Well, we've got an action comedy that we love. And have you ever seen Brothers Grimsby?
It's a comedy, right?
Yeah, the Ukrainian Ben Affleck with Scott Adkins. We laugh at that all the time, but because he does actually look like him. It's I call him Ali G. It's Sacha Baron Cohen, but I call him Ali G. I just know him for Ali G. But it was similar to that. So we've got one. It's called Operation Looney Bin, as in loony for the Canadian. So it's a
Hey.
it's
I love
Canadian,
that.
but it's,
I was lost there.
yeah. Sorry.
A loony and a
Canadian?
toonie,
Yeah,
or a dollar
Canadian.
and a $2 bill. So
Yeah.
we've got like this little
Okay.
loon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it sounded a lot
Yeah.
better before.
Yeah, exactly for the explanation. But thanks for that, Abe. That's okay.
Thanks for making us sound really stupid Canadians. I appreciate that. Yeah.
But yeah, that's an action comedy, and what I love is, obviously I'm British, I live in Canada, and I love the States. I love the energy, and I tell everybody, they're like, "Oh, so you cross the border and you feel the energy change, right?" I'm like, "Yup, I do."
Yes.
I tell everybody that. I'm not gonna lie. So most of my movies have these three elements. Is usually involving Canada, US, and the UK. So I always have these different characters from these places because I feel like I have a little bit of a handle on this. So you know, that one's Operation Looney Bin. Then we have another top secret one we can't mention yet, and then Replicant that we're hoping you know, for art to get involved in. And we've if I may, I just wanted to announce a little bit of good news. So the stunt reel for our main character, Valetika Romanoff, which is Asha Ane, just got into the final for the Urban Action Showcase. And, you know, they're really inspiring kind of urban action films. And especially a big shout out to those guys. I'm really looking forward to going there in November in New York, in conjunction with HBO. Yeah, they're really inspiring female action movie directors, action
Fantastic.
people. So
Congratulations.
kudos for those guys. Yeah.
When you're picking out, you know, people for your roles in your movies, what are you looking for? What is
Looking for you.
Yes.
I'm looking for you.
Right
That's what I'm
answer.
looking for.
That's a right answer.
I'm looking for
I was like,
you.
all right. So,
Honestly,
yeah.
I love people and I know people's personality. I will write a movie around people's personality. I don't do it the other way. I never
Nice.
say, okay, this is a story about this person has to be like this, and I'll go
Let's
and
go
scour
find
the
him.
world. No,
Let's go find
Yeah.
him.
no, that's not how I do it.
Good.
I say, okay, I'm writing a role for Abe. Who am I going to put? Abe's going to be the jock because he's funny. He's going to come down. He's going to be comical, but he's going to be like, but he's going to be the comic relief, but not in a stupid way.
Right.
Yeah.
In a like.
But if needed,
That would
Smart,
totally-
But in a smart. That's how I'm gonna. He's smart. He makes the smart comments, but it's funny.
Yeah.
You are you're gonna kick butt. You're gonna come in. Yes, I see you in the
Slaying.
leather. I
Yes.
see you in the leather, and you're gonna kick butt. You're not gonna talk too much, but you're just gonna show. You know, you're kind of like
Smile,
I'm
look
from
pretty,
Missouri.
you don't smile.
You're Missouri.
You don't
Yeah,
smile.
yeah, not
Yeah,
that.
you're from Missouri.
Yeah.
You're the show me state, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing.
Love
You're
it.
a little bit, you know, because you've got this great smile, you've got this great energy. So that's what I would get my story. My story is going to be there no matter what. But
Very
then
nice.
I will blend the scenes, I will blend the script, and I'll be thinking about
That's vision.
you. Every time I write a script, that's what I do. I have a person, and then I go to them, oh, by the way, this is you. This is what I wrote with you in mind. And I've been very
Wow.
blessed that I've always got my first choice. I always get the people I want
course you
for the
do.
point. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm
makes
blessed.
sense.
Yeah.
That's really good. Instead of going and kind of finding, because you're never going to find that perfect
Never.
person, because it doesn't exist, because it's in our minds, it's our creativity.
Exactly.
Right.
So it doesn't exist. You can't go out and find it. So
Right.
that's great that you do that. So there is a role for us now. So we're good.
There you go.
He's
so
running
we
around
know.
smiling, happy, and I'm
Exactly.
like
There you
slaying
go.
everyone.
And the biggest thing as well is like a lot of the great people that we were so, you know, honored to work with.
Yes.
You know, it's really about being, like TJ Stormer said, about being of service.
Yes.
Being, you know, helping, being open, being friendly, being good to be around.
A team.
Yes.
You need to be
It's a
you need to
team.
be enjoyable to be
Right,
around.
right, right.
Yeah. So yeah.
And also, Abe, you displayed that in prison because you were being of service, and you were being of service in the jail with the inmates, but also to the rest of the world, because you're showing no matter what your circumstances are or where you are, this is only temporary.
Right.
And we can change it and we can get out of it, but we have to have that winning mindset and attitude.
Right.
And you did do that. You displayed that. You know, because you could have given up. You could have said, screw this. I don't want to do this.
Right.
You could have, just...
I was scared because there was a day we were all playing spades And this is when I like said, you know, I'm ready to move forward. I'm going to start a clothing line to move the world. So I started a clothing line. It was called Forever Faith.
Wow.
It's all part of my journey and my story. My book is the highlight right now because I've been able to talk about the journey. But when I came up with the clothing line Forever Faith, it came to me because the guys that I was sitting with, a few of them were getting out within a few months. They were scared to get out.
Wow.
They didn't want to get out.
Yeah.
I would hear them on the phone talking to their wives or their children, and then they would come back and like, I don't want to get out.
Can you share
can't
with
handle
me
this.
what, because I mean, the insight mind of what's going on. So what were they saying? What were they fearful of most?
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Taking on the responsibility. How am I going to buy my son or daughter diapers? How am I going to buy them milk? How am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to help with the bills? They're a convicted felon. A lot of them, you know, don't know anything else.
Yeah.
Or they've never tried anything else.
Yeah, true.
And I think that's what it came down to. Like, you know, I was an athlete, right? I was the jock. I was used to hard work. Obviously, playing sports, you're used to hard work and commitment. And I've only won championships since I was 11. So that's all I know is championship title, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm in prison, I talk about I'm going to do this, this, and this. I had no idea how to do any of it.
Right.
I didn't know how to do it. But I was in prison. It was already rock bottom. It's like I have nothing else to lose.
That's called faith.
Go do
That's
it.
called faith.
But these guys they gave up and they were afraid to move forward. You know, their mindset was weak. They had no faith.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why there are repeat offenders, because some of them, you know, and I hear it a lot, where people just want to go back because it's comfortable. And it's about
they have a bed,
you've got
3 meals and a shower.
Absolutely.
Being
You've got a roof
comfortable
over your
and
head.
stuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in life.
Yeah.
So it's familiar. It's what you know. It's like staying in a bad relationship. Same thing. It's what we know. We're comfortable. So it's about pushing past that barrier. When we get to it, we're fearful. Everyone's fearful. I'm fearful of a lot of things every single day when you wake up. But you switch that mindset, you know what, and just being positive about it. Because that's the thing. We can get through anything.
Right.
And, you know, back in 2004, my life changed drastically. I